Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome bay, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We are live and on the airwaves, on the interwebs, and it is another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, coming to you from our respective homes today. Jeff Defo DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz still away, but we'll be headed back stateside tomorrow to celebrate a new year on the Jewish calendar. Defo, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm having a good day. We've been having a very light workload without doing most of the morning shows the last couple of days. Did have a good time this morning on our little no filter program, which is coming along, and happy to be here. Another edition of the Lunchbox. What more could you ask, my friend, in terms of entertainment?
What more I could ask myself is I got a little not lazy today, a little absent-minded. I'm so busy talking about my latest trip to the cardiologist, I forgot to load us up onto the Let's Eat site. So let's do that right now. I'm slipping and slacking because I could tell that Lubie is almost back. We've got Ken, the professor, is going to be handling the production duties tomorrow at Gulfstream. That's going to be a very big show, I understand. Is that right?
Very special guest. Did we reveal it already? Or are we saving this for tomorrow?
Yeah, we kind of sort of did. We gave the
hints. Well, I mean, I think we talked about it. Yeah, Joey Kornblit. Joey's one of my favorite athletes that I ever got to know. I've had nothing but good thoughts about this man since he was. I had to apologize to him several times, though, Michael, after I got to know him. After cursing him out for over-serving when from the 6-hole, he somehow miraculously had made his way into a playoff, and then naturally, I mean, do you remember the crowd at Dania Highway back then? It was
they used to get 20,000.
Yeah.
On a Friday and Saturday night. Back when I first moved here.
I mean, the crowds were big, but
they get 10
were...
to 15,000. Yeah, the average age was death minus 2.
All Jewish ladies, would occupy the premium seats up front there because they wanted to curse out the players, which was great. And even on Alberto Fio 5 night, where they were giving out the blue hair coloring that they all favored so much, you would still hear, Joey, this fantastic player, he would make one mistake. You know what? Bleep you, Joey. They would get into, suggestions that maybe he was on the take and all of this stuff. So, you fall into that sometimes when you're just with a crowd. It's kind of like the January 6th thing. A lot of these guys just fell into what they say.
I've cursed him out many times. I mean, that's the problem.
How could you know? Look at this guy. He's the greatest of all time at his game.
I just hope I don't curse him out tomorrow. But no, he won't be. I won't be wagering.
You might out of habit, right? You might just say,
you son of a...
You suck, Joey. You should probably just get that out of the way at the top of the show.
Yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow at Gulfstream. It's going to be, I don't know if Tony Segreto is showing up or not.
Tony's coming. That's how Joey's on his way.
Beautiful.
Tony and Joey are, they travel around the country a lot together. They were in business together, promoting, I forget the name of the company. The guy sold it for like $5 billion. He was a local guy here. And they were doing, I guess, orientation projects with different cities where they were lining up, and they demonstrated a lot of different things about the company. And he travels with Joey all the time, and that's how this came about. He's a big fan of the show, Joey Kornblit.
He actually watches. This is great. I'd love to hear that people are finding us and tuning in because, I think we have a pretty good mix of food, sports, fun, dabble a little bit in some of the more serious stuff on occasion when warranted, but today's not one of those occasions.
It's never pretty, though, when we go into that stuff. I mean, becomes a bloodbath on the chat line. You get your usual assortment of hate mail. Me, they just, they're not taking it seriously if I make a political statement.
Hey, let me set the agenda because I did do some, pre-show prep work today.
I saw you writing feverishly before we came on, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, so let me set the table here. We've got the hot topic today on Let's Eat is kids in restaurants. We'll talk a little bit about that. I had dinner last night with my daughter at this new trendy, really good restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, Miso Japanese Tapas, and we'll talk about that. I had an anxiety dream involving Let's Eat South Florida members. I'll get to
Uh-oh.
that. I want your interpretation of that later on.
I am great at that, by the way. Dream
it's
interpretation.
it's absolutely true. And this happened early this morning. It was very, very weird. But I want to start today. Oh, and also welcome back, Tropical Acres. I just spoke to them over
good.
there.
Yeah.
They all have completed their kitchen renovations, and they're scrambling around today because they're getting everything reset up. And of course, Jack Studiali being he's classy, but he's also ambitious. They scheduled a luncheon today, so they're in the middle of doing this luncheon banquet while also resetting up and reorganizing the kitchen, and the dining room will be reopening for service after a little hiatus this week. Again, you could go in there later today. We'll talk more about that. But
the
first,
usual sort of helter-skelter that goes on behind the scenes in restaurants, which I was witness to many, many times, where the
opening
French
night
chef would fire some shrimp fra diavolo, across the room and say, "There's your order. Stop hawking me about it." I mean, like there was always chaos. I always loved that.
well, they got Tropical Acres.
It wasn't Gordon Ramsay-esque, but
they move like a tremendous machine, and obviously
great.
sometimes they have their moments and they get kind of in the weeds, as they know, but they always
but
find
they
their
thrive
way
on
out.
it. They thrive on it. Yeah.
They do. They've been doing it a long time. The problem these days is, which I hear about all the time, is you can't find good help. Where you hire people, they show up to work for maybe a week, and then they don't even call out sick. They just don't show up, and then sometimes
very common.
Three
Very
people
common.
just don't show up, and then talk about being in the weeds. If it's a Saturday night and you're going to have 500 people coming in, and you're down 2 in the kitchen and 3 on the floor, it tends
even
to
the bar business where people are making good money. It's amazing. Mustang has seen a ton of turnover in the 6 months or so. She's been doing some shifts over at Fishtails. There's another place down the street that they don't know if the bartenders are even showing up. And they're making good money. I mean, it's not like it isn't worth it, but people just don't care anymore. I remember you used to be like
conscientious.
Under any circumstances you were going to work. I mean, you would drag yourself in there, with symptoms of a disease that exceeded anything anybody experienced in COVID, and you would still go, out of dedication. It would take almost being deceased to keep you from going to work. But people don't do that anymore, so that's the way
I don't
it
want
is.
to start getting into a whole harangue about the decline of the work ethic and how people there's no loyalty anymore to businesses or organizations. But then again, businesses and organizations have no loyalty to employees anymore, and as soon as they can replace them with robots or computers or AI, they will. So it's a two-way street, and it's really not a good, healthy situation. But I'm not here to diagnose that. I'm going to diagnose myself and ask.
You got to diagnose his cholesterol level,
well,
whatever that is. That was alarming, apparently.
I've got to start with a question today. And that question is, Jeff Defo DeFars, am I morbidly obese?
I wouldn't define you as that. The parameters of being, sort of in that category, I think are very flimsy.
Look at this face. I mean, I think I look.
I would not look at you and say you are morbidly obese. Although, like I said, the quantifiers to be in that category, a lot of people would be considered morbidly obese that are in good shape.
Well, I'm right on the edge of it, I guess, because, I had a weigh in. I know the numbers were going to be grim. I've been avoiding the scale. I avoided this blood work for a while, but it was time to pay the piper today. I had my annual visit to my cardiologist. And it basically, I mean, I've been, the encouraging.
You weighed in and they showed you a picture of the old boxer Buster Mathis, who had a considerable amount of flab around the waistline. Butterbean. I don't even know if Butterbean weighed that much. He was not a tall guy.
Okay, so here's the good news. I mean, the good news is I weigh closer to 215, the weight of our former president, allegedly, than let's say 275. So that's good. But I'm in the 240 range, and a guy my weight and height,
it's a bit of a high number. Yeah,
I consider my optimal weight about 185. I mean, the charts would say that I should be 160, 165.
That's a tough number to achieve.
The reality is my frame is wide. I have tree trunks for thighs. I always considered my number was like 180, 185. That's a good weight for me.
If you got under a deuce at this stage, it would be a triumphant moment. Same here.
It would also be a miracle. But the bottom line is, according to the metrics, the BMI, the body mass index, I'm coming in at about like 38 and change, and they say anything over 40 is morbidly obese. And
that I could see being qualifying number. Yeah.
I'm in the, obviously on the high end of obese. Like I am solidly obese. And yeah, I consider myself fat and overweight. And, I know a lot of people have body image issues and blah, blah, blah. I'm brutally honest with myself. I'm brutally honest with others when critiquing restaurants. And I'm brutally
But
honest
lately,
with
though,
myself.
you've been going down such a sordid path in that regard. I mean, you've had a brief flirtation with the walk of life. You had a brief fascination with that, but it was short-lived. You have to be committed to do these sort of things every day, and it sort of has to come almost,
From within.
subconsciously. Yeah,
It's like an alcoholic or a gambling holic.
Yeah.
Like nobody else can tell you what to do. You have to do it
Right.
yourself and say, and admit it. And my name is Michael,
and
and
block
I'm,
out the desire to blow it off. I mean, which is a very easy one to succumb to, where
we
you're
were
thinking,
talking-
"Do I
yeah.
really want to get out there and walk 4 miles today?" Answer, obviously, no.
We were talking about this yesterday. There's no magic bullets. Okay, now people are going on these, wonder drugs, the Ozempic, things that are meant to treat diabetes, but also
That seems wrought with disaster, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people lose 30 pounds right off
Yeah.
the bat. I don't want to go that route.
No.
I'm old school and old fashioned, and it's just like you said. People don't want to work anymore. You got to do the work, as the doctor on the 600-pound life says. You got to have exercise, and you got to eat less food, and you got to eat better food. And here I am. It's a salad day. I've got salad.
Oh,
with some
good for you.
turkey.
I like the fact that you came straight home from the doctor's office and fixed yourself a salad.
How long
But
is that going to last?
you can't let that be the short-lived answer to this.
No.
I mean, it really does. It's true. It sounds really corny. And I mentioned this guy yesterday. He probably had the best quick weight loss and sustained lifestyle, get to your proper weight diet that I'd seen, although very, sort of hard to stick to, for a long, long period of time. This guy, Derek Smith. But, he was, just a big advocate of, it's important to feel good. That's the number one thing. And when dining out like you do quite frequently, I mean, you probably
Make better
have to
choices
go
and
in
eat less.
disguise so you don't get all these freebies and just eat like what the normal portion would be, maybe even half of it, and take the rest home with you.
Yeah. Again, simple formula: less calories in, more calories burned. Things will happen in the right direction. I've said it a million times, but this is it's another one of these wake up calls where the blood sugar was too high, the cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. That's what he really read me the Riot Act on, because
It looked like the scoreboard at Wrigley. I mean, where they just keep putting more numbers up.
And the thing is, I'm already on the generic Lipitor, the 10 milligrams.
Yeah.
So basically, he upped my dosage. I'm up to 20 milligrams. And then he was like pondering whether he needs to send me for the CT scan of the arteries to see if there's any plaque developing and if there's any other situations that could be prevented. And, there's preventative care that goes in where if you start getting certain symptoms or if your levels are at a certain number, they might send you in for a little screening. But, it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes they might find things that really isn't that big of a deal, but maybe they want to address it, and then they start sticking things in you and opening
you're
up.
you're in the
stents and
hands
wounds.
of people that you really don't want to be dealing with
Right.
if you just made a few simple corrections. The
So-
fact that your numbers came back somewhat to the, in the
Well-
vicinity of those of the English patient, probably
No, and what, I
probably
took-
would be a red flag and
He-
enough to motivate me to maybe make some changes.
here's the encouraging sign, okay? And this is the way my mind works. Like, when you're watching a game and your home team plays like the worst half possible and they're only trailing by 4 points.
Exactly.
So basically, like, I've done everything in a self-destructive manner in the last, let's be honest, the last 6 months. I've been, after I fell off the keto wagon, I ended up just.
To what extent do we blame Dickstein?
I'm not going to blame him.
Okay, all right.
I got to look in the mirror.
You're not going.
and I'm not even going to
Serena Williams on
blame
this.
you and
Yeah.
Lubie for encouraging me to stuff endless amounts
We
of food.
we don't
and-
encourage you. We're just baffled that somebody of your stature in the food business and food industry and so well respected by so many people could eat like that. I mean,
I mean, like
it
a disgusting Joey Chestnut
it,
shoving.
it
full
seems out of
sandwich.
character. I mean, it's totally out of character with the
I was doing
persona that you are projecting as this distinguished, refined food critic,
I was doing it for the show and for the art, but now
which is admirable, very admirable.
got to do things for myself now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: like, you go into halftime, you've played as bad a half as you can play, and you're still within a
Still in the
touchdown
game,
of
sure.
getting back in it. And I was thinking, like, everything I have had no discipline. I've had days where I've had two lunches back to back. I'd go out for ice cream after having dessert at a restaurant. I mean, and to
You had
be-
a death wish. You were like Charles Bronson.
and to do all that, and yet I'm still like right on the cusp of the diabetes, and the numbers for the cholesterol, overall cholesterol, is just a little above the grade. Of course, the bad cholesterol is way off the charts. It should be 50. I'm at 120.
How well do you fight off the ropes? I mean, we've
I'm
seen
good.
you sustain these programs for like a week or two, but we haven't seen you make an actual commitment to it, which, I mean, this numerology is not favorable. And
No,
once you start having to see a variety of doctors just to resolve one issue, it gets more and more complicated, as you said, with
and
each
again,
passing visit.
I want to stay out of the clutches of medications and doctors and all
Yeah.
those things. Long-term effects of the statins, like the Lipitor, actually have shown really it's not bad and it's beneficial long-term.
Throw
So-
those crutches away, my friend.
But
We want you to go, Benny Hinn on this thing. Just
But the
throw those
bottom
crutches away and be
line
okay.
is, yeah, he ordered me. He says, join a gym, go get your exercise 4 days a week.
That was your
orders.
doctor? I mean, that's great. Here, Mayo, join a
And-
gym.
Yeah, but the positive
He doesn't
signs-
even give you any analysis or any of this stuff. He just says
says-
it's kind of like when they ask me now, because I'm 72 years old. When I go to even the general practitioner just for an annual checkup, they ask me if I have my affairs in order.
Yeah,
Like
right.
as a matter of routine in the questioning. It's like, well, what are you talking about? I mean, do you see something on these charts that you're not telling me about? What is the deal with that?
Well,
And of
sure.
course, they have a guy like Mo Schwartz that's in the back there, and he can immediately get you a will and trust.
Yeah, well, we all should have our affairs in order, because you never know when you live in South Florida and you drive on I-95, and now with the new laws of open carry, you don't even
People
have
just
to
start
be,
shooting at each other. It's great.
you don't even have to be a walking heart attack risk.
He's got a DeSantis for president flag, and he's got an AK-47 out the back window. Great.
Anyway, today is the first day of the rest of my life, Defo. I know
All right,
you've
good.
heard it
I
before.
applaud this. A round of
I've got
applause
my
for Mayo.
salad. I am gonna, again, cut.
Now, what are your
back
plans
on
for
the
later
sugars.
today, though? You would have to. Your social calendar is always filled with different invites. And
I
various
got
food
invited
events.
to go to this champagne dinner of champagne tasting up at the place in Fort Lauderdale called Wine Watch. And it's going to be a multi-course dinner there. So
Oh yeah, wow.
there'll be
There
a
are
little-
ways around it. I mean, you know what? If you are like trying to restrict yourself in certain areas, it can be difficult, especially if you're the social presence that you are, and in such hot demand for lectures and judging
know.
of contests and things like that.
But enough of, I just need to control a little discipline and just, have just a couple of sips of each champagne that's going to be poured tonight, or just, instead of draining every glass, have a couple of bites of every course instead of having every course that comes my way. I'm going to go on this journey.
Envision a number on the scale and picture
Yeah.
yourself stepping on in a week, and make it a modest enough,
Let's make it
achievable
happen.
difference, and
Well,
make it happen. Yeah.
At first, it comes off a little, quicker, especially if you get the proper exercise. And then, look, I know I'm in for a long struggle. The ultimate goal is to have the weight and the cholesterol.
You need a vital transformation. Is
The
what
weight
you need.
and the cholesterol both starting with a 1, and the bad cholesterol starting with a 0, and getting it in that
Yeah.
50 to 60 range.
You don't want to look like you are Don Carter and you just took down the Firestone Tournament of Champions with a 234. Or you were giving up that number of yards that the Dolphins did to the rushing game of the Chargers.
But I also don't want to deny myself anything. And diet is a 4-letter word. And I think there's a way to do it where you just cut out some certain things, common sense things. Don't have the fried foods. Instead of having lots of butter, maybe have a little bit of healthier olive oil. All these things that I did when I was
I'm
age
assuming
40.
this is not going to be easy for you. I really am. We will be rooting for you, and I will discourage you. My favorite, among my favorite commentators now in the chat line is the lovely Blanche, who says, "Do you have a designated driver for tonight?"
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
That's
Good.
good.
All right.
So, yeah, I do. I have a designated driver. So I'm always mindful of overindulging with the alcohol when I.
So where are we going to eat now? I mean, if you're off the circuit.
No, we're going to go to our regular sponsors.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask them to kind of, go along with the program for a little bit, in terms of just not slaughtering me with every menu item that they offer. But we'll see. It's going to be good. Meanwhile, Gulfstreams are great on Fridays because very easy to go light and healthy there. They have the great salad and the grilled chicken, and that's a very satisfying lunch. And don't have to have the
Palm salad is
booze.
my favorite. You like that other one? What, the ceviche or whatever?
No,
what's-
I like the caprese salad, but that
Caprese,
has the
yeah.
mozzarella, a little high fat. I think I'll go back to the 10 palm salad.
10 palms is your good basic salad. I mean,
hearts of palms, which I
yeah.
like. I love a good hearts of palms. So, all right.
What's your key ingredient in a salad? Now that you're going to be eating more salads, I mean, what must you have in a salad to consider it worth eating? Besides, I mean, the obvious of lettuce.
What are
you gonna have?
I like radishes.
Radishes, okay.
Oh,
Now, do you buy them already chopped up, or do you actually go through the Sorvino routine of shaving them with a razor blade and cutting them up yourself? Because I could live without radishes in a salad. Now, how do you feel about this one, Mike Mayo? Throw in some raisins in a salad.
No,
No? Okay.
I don't like shriveled things in my food. You know me. I'm generally averse to putting fruit sweet with my savory, and my salad I like having. I got some turkey. I got one piece of Munster cheese, some good vinaigrette. No sugars in the vinaigrette, and I mean, I know there are some very good salads out there that have a sweet component of either some of the raisins or maybe some dried cranberries.
I would think you would want a little crunch in there too, like some croutons.
Yeah, well, luckily this salad, I buy the pre-bagged stuff. That when
do you wash it, or you just trust that they washed it before?
Well, it says triple wash. You're supposed to wash it again, but then it makes it too wilted because I don't have one of those salad spinners. I think maybe I need to invest.
I don't have the
salad
patience for that.
spinner.
I just whatever
I just
it
put it
is
in the bag.
If it's laced with some kind of infectious
Usually
disease,
makes your immune.
Ebola, I can handle.
E. coli is the big culprit that comes in salads because it's a lot of times the fertilizer they use and might have water runoff that's next to some stream.
So
that has, but the bottom line is I don't because I think it's better for your immune system to get a little of that in your system.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it's like the George Carlin used to have a bit about how
you sound like Dr. Fauci at this point.
That kids should have eat a little dirt when they're young because it boosts their immune system. And George Carlin used to say, I grew up swimming in the East River. My body is steeled in shit. So, sorry for the curse word there, but
you're out of control today, Mayo. I mean, these numbers are buzzing in your head to the point of being a distraction to the code of ethics of the program here.
Hey, speaking of a distraction, do you want to analyze the dream first or talk about kids in restaurants? Because
whichever way you want to go. I mean, you're on a roll, so I'm going to follow you.
Well, enough about me for this segment. We'll go back to me next segment. Let's talk.
Okay.
I mean, now everybody's thrilled to hear my whole health history, but hey, the insurance companies.
When you got into this numerology in the past, it was already something where you would think it was cause for concern. And I would have to say, over the last 6 months, since the last time you went into this whole statistical analysis of your blood system, you have done nothing to improve the situation. No. If anything, it's been overwhelmingly detrimental, your behavior. It comes as no surprise, but it's not like you can't overcome it. Like you said, you're only down 7 points, and you should be down 30.
Your whole, not shtick, but you're absolutely right when it comes to gambling. And it's like with me with food, self-sabotage. For some reason, I've been self-sabotaging. I need to look deep within myself.
A lot of people do it.
A hole or a core. But now, I'm trying to fill the hole and correct myself. And
the guy got your attention. That
got my attention.
It's like you busted an ammonia cap under your nose in the corner there, and you're going out for round 12.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and it's another basic question. Is like, is ignorance bliss or is knowledge power? Because when they say we want to scan
both, I would say both.
Okay, because when they say we want to scan your arteries and do the CT scan of the arteries, it could show that, hey, despite everything I've done, there is no plaque buildup, there is no hardening or narrowing, and then I would feel even more emboldened to go crazy. So that's why he was like, and on the flip side, if it shows that there is an issue developing, they could take care of it right away before it turns into.
There you go. That would be the course of action, especially with this other stuff adding up. But
Right. But he
yeah,
said,
I think there is some hardening of the Mayo arteries just based on the fact that you are quick to fly off the handle sometimes, and that's a sign that maybe not enough is blood is getting to the
well, I mean,
proper places.
on the positive side, I have no other, like, I don't have symptoms of any kind of tightness in the chest or shortness of breath or things like that.
You don't want to have that, though. I mean,
Hmm?
stave it off. Stave
No,
it
no,
off. All
no,
right,
no.
what about
But
these kids in the restaurant?
and my EKG was fine. He said it was
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
So again,
All right.
those things would give indications that maybe you need to go right away. And so he's giving me a
I think you should
reprieve.
just have as a backdrop the chart, your medical charts. My favorite ever medical terminology was when my friend a polyman who endured 6 bypasses at one time, set a record. The over players were rejoicing once it hit 4 and a hook, and they had they had one of those little grease boards, up where they put like the guy's temperature and everything and whatever, and it said conditions. And this is a guy who's been a racetrack guy, since he was born. And the conditions that were up there on the board were clear and cold. And I thought, got to be opening day of the Aqueduct winter meet. But yeah, get this taken care of. Now, what do you have a beef with kids in restaurants? I mean, I've
No,
had
well,
kids in restaurants of all varieties, including children and grandchildren.
All right, so let's set the table on this one. One of my favorite Let's Eat members, one of the original OG Let's Eat, Larry Marks is his name. He grew up in the same neighborhood as me in Brooklyn, as it turns out, because we've met each other over the years. We've done some things and had some dinners. He works in the business. He's a waiter at a restaurant. And anyway, and I call him the poet laureate of Let's Eat because he has a way with words where sometimes he mangles the language in humorous ways. But
Little Norm Crosby, yeah.
Yeah. King of malaprops. But Larry Marks posted something that was a notice, a sheet of paper that was posted in a local restaurant. And it basically says, to all guests with children, after so many complaints and damage received, we kindly ask you keep your eyes on your children. You are responsible for your children. Unruly children and guests will not be tolerated. Disruptive tables will be asked to leave. Families will be responsible for any damages. Pretty simple notice. Just saying,
you know what? And a reasonable policy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this thing is it's like throwing chum in the water. It's gotten 23,000 views,
Wow.
358 comments.
This is on Let's Eat South Florida?
Yeah. And I
Wow.
approved it at 6 this morning. It's only been up there for about 7 hours now.
Is that a record? That might be the record.
No, it's not even close to a record. I've whipped people into a frenzy before. But again, now it's gone into the whole why do people hate kids? And this is very family unfriendly.
That's not hating children.
Now do one for the unruly adults. And, I had 2 things in response to this. Number one was my favorite all-time sign about this kind of topic used to hang at Le Tub in Hollywood before it was bought. And actually, it was a long time ago, back in the 80s and 90s and its grittier era. But they had a sign up there that said, unattended children will be used as fish bait.
That's straightforward. It's much like your doctor telling you to join a gym. Yeah.
But I think the overall sentiment is, look, I love families. I don't mind babies that are in strollers. And, I brought my daughter out to fancy restaurants from the time she was 3. We were teaching her how to behave and how to, sit and enjoy.
I love seeing well-mannered kids in restaurants enjoying themselves. It's great.
And now the kids have these ultimate pacifiers in these gadgets and iPhones. So if you got a 3 or 4-year-old, I don't recommend it because I want to teach people how to eat the right way, which is like have a conversation and look around you. But for some of the toddlers and stuff, you do keep them more preoccupied if you give them a gadget, and they could get through a full restaurant.
They're not as interested in, when is the fish dip going to come to the table?
Right. But again, I encourage families. I want people to grow up in restaurant culture, but it's more, again, this is more directed at parents who, this sense of entitlement now where parents just go in and they don't even give a crap. They're on their phones and they're talking to friends and they're not even paying attention. The kid is running around doing pirouettes, and it's dangerous to the
parents
other guests.
should be responsible for the kids' behavior, no doubt.
And I
And,
think
and
that's
keep your kids, in an orderly fashion like that. I mean, you don't have to be yelling and screaming, but if they don't know how to behave, then have the good sense to say, this isn't going well. Let's get out of here.
grab a couple of to-go boxes
Yeah.
and eat at home. Do you ever go out with the grandkids? I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
probably
quite a
know.
bit. They're both happen to be very well behaved, and there are certain places that have ways of accommodating kids. One would be Bonefish Max. They have this weird series of machines there that are kind of skill crane oriented, and the kids absolutely love that. But they're generally well behaved. They're not a problem. My son Jesse, when he was an infant or just a couple of years old or whatever, he did experience some stomach conditions with that colic or I guess whatever allergies they have to formula. And so sometimes in restaurants he became impossible in terms of you couldn't stop him from crying.
Oh,
But when that happened, my first instinct was okay. I'm going to let my wife finish dinner. I'll take the kid outside, and when she's done, pack up the rest of this stuff, and we'll go. I'm not going to
I thought
subject the people at the table next to us to to that kind of screaming from my own child.
I thought you were going to say you handed him a racing form and that distracted him a little bit. Or something.
Oh well, I would now, but back then, no, there wasn't much you could do. I mean, you have a child that's not feeling well, crying uncontrollably. It's time to walk the kid outside. No, I mean
Yeah.
you can't just let him scream in there like you're on an airplane and you're
No,
stuck.
no. Hey, look, some of the feedback there, a lot of parents on there chiming in support of the overall, message on the sheet. Nikki A, not our Nikki Mohan, but Nikki A says, "Love this. When my kids were younger and would start acting up, we would leave.
Yeah.
The parents need to control the situation
Exactly.
and stop acting like they are on vacation from responsibilities."
It's dangerous for people too. I mean, you're serving in a restaurant. Maybe the floor is a little slippery that night, and you got some kid running around. While I got a tray full of food, it could be hazardous for both the kid and the people that are working there and the guests. So
Yeah, just mind your kids. I mean,
yeah,
nobody's saying they're not allowed. I'm not saying there should be like, dogs of non-service dogs, which I am totally opposed to having any kind of non-service dog in a dining room inside. Patios, I'm fine with dogs being outside. That's, I think, where the dogs belong. Dog-friendly restaurants outside, but inside, there's other guests that might have allergies. And it happened to my brother the other night. He went to
oh
this
yeah,
new restaurant he met up with an old college buddy, and they went to this new restaurant that's getting some good buzz called Joey Aventura. I think it's like a Canadian restaurant company. And he said that it was a group of four of them, my brother's friend, a colleague of his that was down here on a work project, and then my brother and his wife. And there was the four of them, and they got seated. It was relatively early on Monday, and a group comes in, gets seated right next to him with this big dog,
oh
um,
jeez, yeah,
and didn't have a vest on. It wasn't doing any. It wasn't like a seeing eye dog. And my sister-in-law just freaked out because she gets allergic, and she basically asked the management to change tables because the management was reluctant. Like, I guess the law is you're only allowed to ask a guest that brings a dog inside, is this a service animal and is it trained to do a task? And if the people say yes and yes, then some places just say, oh, okay, we can't do anything. Our
but couldn't
hands are
they
tied.
just have a general policy against bringing dogs in there?
Yeah, unless it's a service animal. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. If it's a seeing eye dog.
Right.
then-
I mean, you don't want some blind person coming in there and being
Right.
denied the chance to eat
No,
there. But
that would be a violation of the Americans with Disability Act. So that's that fine line, which, look, Publix drew the line. They said, I don't know if they're enforcing it, but that, they
I haven't
put
seen
up
any
those-
dogs in there in the last couple of times I've been in
Good,
Publix.
because I'm tired of seeing freaking dogs. I don't know why. I've never really had a dog. Okay, I guess you wouldn't believe this. You know what my first pet was?
I would think a snake.
Well, that was the second one. The first was a hamster. The second was a snake. The third one, my college roommate had an iguana. But I've never had a
Jeez.
dog. I've had
Yeah.
cats.
Dogs are great. I've had many in my lifetime. I have two now that I
How's
love
Skippy
dearly.
doing, by the way?
Skippy has made a very nice recovery and is doing pretty well. He's active again and he's sort of lively. When he's out walking, he feels great. So he's doing well. But I wouldn't think to bring
but-
these dogs to a restaurant.
Right. Like if we would have a get together at Casa Calabria, Excuse my stuffed mouth. You wouldn't bring Skippy to Casa Calabria to hang out with us for the night, right?
I rarely, I have to say, restaurants that I frequent, I rarely see a dog inside. And there are some places that you're expecting people, to have their dogs outside. As much as I'm a dog lover, I am not a fan of bringing dogs to a restaurant, period, or to
Right.
the store or any of that stuff.
Some of these,
Bring them to the dog park.
I don't know what it is with. I don't know if it's older people. Some people have anxiety and they want to be
Grab a
around
sandwich.
them.
That's it. Go to Wicked Cheesesteaks, get a couple of cheesesteaks on the BOGO Wednesday, and take your dog to the Pompano Dog Park and let him run around while you eat. That would be the way to handle
Or
that.
find
no?
an outdoor dog-friendly place. Like there's
Yeah.
that one up in Pompano on the water that the name escapes me now. It was somebody posted about it going into decline and not seating them after there was an emergency in the kitchen and they had to shut. What's the name of the place? It's on the tip of my tongue. Now I
Not
feel
the
like
Sands.
no, it's a dog-friendly place. It's outdoors. It'll come to me during the break. But anyway, that's the kind of place you go. There's some place that is a known outdoor dog-friendly restaurant. There's an outdoor patio overlooking whatever, the Intracoastal or a dock, and that's appropriate. And when everybody is on the same
the Naughty
page,
Dog. Is
yeah,
that
the
one?
Naughty Dog. Thank you.
It's
It has a dog in the
Lighthouse
title.
Point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. But that's known as a dog-friendly place. So,
Very much so.
anyway.
Yes. I think they have a menu for the dog there.
yeah. Oh well, yeah. And Starbucks. Our friend Joe C. He brings Tasso around to places that are dog-friendly, and he says, goes to the local Starbucks, and they have something known as a puppuccino, which is a little frozen
Fairly
treat
common.
for dogs.
It's
to
whipped
have.
cream, basically.
Yeah, but basically, you get that and you go outside. You sit on the patio. It's an outdoor activity.
The dogs love that puppuccino. Man.
But anyway, dogs and kids are different. Kids belong in restaurants, but the parents should.
Like anywhere else, though. You take a kid to a
control
ball game. You take a kid to the zoo. You take a kid, take her to the zoo. She loves what was that thing in Rocky? Mentally impaired people love the zoo. I'll put it that way. That was a great line. But anyway, you shouldn't be in control of your children. They shouldn't be out of control. I mean, why would you think that it was any more proper for them to run amok in a restaurant? It's insane. So take the responsibility if you're bringing kids to a place, and I think it's perfectly sane and proper to ask that if you were the management of the restaurant.
There you go. All right. It is time for our first break, and we welcome back into.
Did we solve that problem? I think we did.
Yeah,
we're in a rare agreement too, Mayo.
Yeah, that's great. We're harmonious. I think Lubie was the pot stirrer. He would get us to set each.
Nah, Louis, he just wanted to make sure that he boxed up enough food to last for the rest of the month. He could have fed the people that, unfortunately, were impacted by the Moroccan earthquake just with the leftovers he's taken out of Gilbert's. What are you talking about?
Now, right down the road, we got the Libyan flooding. So anywhere he goes, there's a trail of.
I'm surprised that's not on his travel agenda. The next stop, Libya.
Shirley might have penciled that in. I guess she might. All right.
She
anyway,
does drag him to some weird, remote places that you don't normally have on your travel itinerary.
I think she's part of this cult. They call it the chasing, because her handle is chasing Shirls for Shirley. There's this chasing, they go around chasing adventures around the world. I've read in the New York Times that the latest one is Mongolia. So they'll probably be going to Mongolia next.
Okay, nothing like a little Mongolian food to get it going.
Adventurous
Mongolian
travelers.
Beef, right? They're known for their Mongolian beef.
I think this part of Mongolia that they were featuring is off the grid, and I think they have yak. Yak is the specialty there. So
all right.
Something I've never had. And
you've never had yak? I can't imagine.
Had yak.
Yeah.
So it's on my.
You've eaten almost everything, as evidenced by your medical report.
They don't have yak, but they do have some of the finest steaks around at Tropical Acres. And
Tropical Acres, they're back. They're
and
back.
better than ever.
Nice.
The dining room will reopen today. 4:00, the bar reopens for happy hour all the way till 6:30 with those great half-price drinks and value appetizers priced at $5, $6, $7. And then, of course, early bird special starting at 4:30 when the dining room reopens after a little hiatus. And boy, people are clamoring. People on the Let's Eat group, they were all, dismayed that they couldn't go in. But it's back, better than ever. Upgraded kitchen facilities. They got all the work done and ready to serve you tonight with some of the greatest in the way of the filet mignons, the prime rib, so juicy and succulent. And of course, the summertime special ongoing through November, the twin Maine lobsters for $39 for a pair of pound-and-a-quarter beauties, served with a salad and a side dish, just $39. You can't beat that deal. That's what Tropical Acres is all about: value and great service, hospitality. It's the old school way. It's been around since 1949. Means they know what they're doing. Jack Studiali and his family will take great care of you. I love the place. Don't forget to get your loyalty reward card for royalty, like me and other VIPs that go in there, which is everybody gets treated like a VIP. For every 12 entrees that you purchase, you get the 13th one on the house. Going to be a great weekend there at Tropical Acres. Go check them out, tropicalacres.com, for the latest information. And they're open every day but Sunday. Tropical Acres, 2500 Griffin Road. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
You can even tell by the little picture that we put up during the Tropical Acres ad that plays here on the show.
Yeah.
Jack Studiali standing between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these two sick degenerates there, and there's a guy that's just, as Trevor Denman would say so eloquently, is exuding class. I mean,
Classy.
just exuding class, like
The whole
Zenyatta
place.
boogieing
The
in
whole-
the stretch. Unbelievable.
whole-
No, I love Tropical Acres, and you can't go wrong. Just an absolutely fantastic place. Great dining experience. More of Mike Mayo's salad-laden lunchbox in a moment.
Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all: Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting? Have I got the place for you? Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasto platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi, fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova, or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, and we're back on the Lunchbox. Still no music. Lubie will return, and so will the theme to Oliver Twist. Food, glorious food. All in my case now, it's food, devilish food, trying to foil me, but I will win in the end. Defo, I guess it's time for checking into the dream department, dream analysis.
Yeah, what
you're
happened?
good at this. All right. So early this morning, I have a dream. Not Martin Luther King Jr., but
it was a good beginning there. I think you plagiarized that one.
I was at a banquet. I don't know who was holding this banquet. It was like some food organization. And it was a multi-level affair. There was like an upstairs that had different rooms, and there was like different places for people to kind of just sit. And there was like
kind of like your bar mitzvah at Leonard's.
Yeah, exactly. It reminded me of Leonard's, but it was down here, and there was a main banquet hall where they were giving speeches and there were things going on. I wanted to get in there to go for I think there was going to be a keynote speech by somebody. I wanted to see. All I know is I got cornered and in one of these upstairs rooms by a bunch of people who were members of Let's Eat, and they were complaining about the setup of the banquet hall. They said it was too crowded and there weren't enough seats and the food wasn't good. And I'm sitting in there fielding all these complaints, and I'm trying to say, well, I didn't have anything to do with organizing the banquet. I'm just here. And then all of a sudden I hear this commotion of like, where's Mayo? Where's Mike Mayo? And like, apparently they were surprising me with some award that I didn't know I was getting. And I couldn't get down there. And then there was people on the walkie-talkie saying, we can't find them. That's it. Let's just end it now. End it now. And then they ended up dispersing. They ended the ceremonies. People started filing out. And I'm trying to get down there to go in there to claim or just to be, give thanks for whatever. And then a security guard comes up and says, no, you can't go down there. Nobody is allowed. We're letting people out. And I was like, and I didn't want to say, do you know who I am? But I just said, you know what? I'm going anyway. You can arrest me for this. And I just burst down, and the guy is like collaring me. Like it turned into, I still ended up getting detained. I didn't know if they were going to call the cops. And then I woke up. Can you decipher this dream for me?
Let me ask you a question, and I hope you'll be honest with the audience here. Was the sheet a little wet when you woke up? I mean, did you also urinate in this dream?
I did not.
And have a startling wake up and go, "What the hell was that?"
I did have some sweat around the pillow.
I am afflicted with a similar syndrome from time to time, which there's really no reason for it. I'm past this stage, well past it, but I do wake up to the occasional radio nightmare, where there's some onerous program director running down the hallway with a sledgehammer ready to break the glass of the studio because you were talking about the 62 Mets, and they thought, well, geez, nobody under 100 would possibly understand what the hell you're talking about, DeForest. Why don't you wake up and talk 24 hours a day about the same tired topic everybody else is? And that's my recurring nightmare. So I believe this is emblematic of the fact that there's a certain acrimony between you and the Let's Eat South Florida people. There's an internal side of you that you really don't necessarily want to share because it's a great group and everything, but there's an internal resentment that you have towards having to handle some of the things that you find, which I don't mean to imply that you're condescending at all, but that you find particularly ridiculous that other people seem to attach great importance to. And, that's why the intelligent person is never happy, Michael. Have you not realized that with your, Mensa IQ?
Yes.
The intelligent person is never happy, and neither are most of the people that are about to get into a poker tournament. Did you notice some of the faces? I mean, they're paying money to go and have a good time, and they're like miserable. Everybody's
That tends to
complaining
be the
and bitching
case
before they even sit down. It was incredible.
at many parimutuel
Well,
facilities
I've
and
been around
casinos.
gamblers enough to see the
Yeah.
syndrome. I mean, it wasn't everybody, but I saw enough of those kind of casino faces that I'm like, well, you know what? I mean, why do people do this if they're not going to be happy right from the start?
No, and you're right. I mean, I do have that conflict where sometimes, like in print, I try to be very diplomatic, but then when I get on the show, I kind of let loose and just
No, it's not even
rip
just
it.
a show because I can tell, I can see the kind of snide part of it. Not that it's not
No, it is snide.
sometimes
I'm
warranted,
snarky. I'm
but yeah,
snarky.
you're throwing a shot at the person.
Right.
Sometimes when
Shade.
they leave the location or something out, or
Well,
they say something about lamb chops in a place they shouldn't be. I've just seen it in your various posts.
no, for steak. If you order steak in a Greek restaurant, you get what you necessarily might.
Well, I mean, that could be true of a lot of things.
We're gonna
It's
let
just,
this go.
but I sense that in you, in your comments sometimes, and I could see where, while dreaming about the situation, you would also, fear that you would be under what for a lot of people would be a very justifiable attack.
Right.
Let's put it that
And
way.
I think, you see the dichotomy there where it brings me glory and some people really appreciate it. And that
Oh, you're
somebody
right
was
on a
giving me an
mountaintop, man.
award, but yet I
Yeah.
can't reach the award because the
Exactly.
negativity there.
You're underappreciated for what you're doing.
Well, it's not even underappreciated. It's just that, yeah,
No matter how much free food, no matter how many sponsors call to come on board, you're thinking it's not enough to compensate for the aggravation, the anxiety, the acrimony that is caused in your life by having to. I mean, how many of these things do you process a day? These
Oh
let's eat
God,
self-harder
the
things.
posts. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're endless. They come in. I think in a given month we do.
And
About
where's Gretchen? Is she
the one-
just
oh, yeah,
abdicated
Gretchen.
all
No,
of that responsibility?
Gretchen. No,
to you?
Gretchen is around on the weekends a lot. She runs a newspaper. She's the managing editor of the Sun Sentinel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
during
Can't
the
be
week,
taking up
she's
too
a
much
little
of her
bit-
time anymore. No.
she does a little bit. She dabbles in it sometimes in the mornings, like me. But I go in and I do these major sweeps, and on the weekends we share.
And you
these
become a little bit embittered. I could see
Yes,
where
it's-
that was surfacing in this particular dream.
love-hate
'Cause,
relationship. I
You're
love it
just
when
visualizing in this dream the things that you think subliminally, that maybe you can't bring to the surface on a regular basis because it's not particularly flattering to admit that, half the people that are in the group, you're thinking, hey, don't ever make another comment like that again.
Yeah, I'm thinking like you're really going to complain about that. I mean, just stop being ridiculous.
People do come up with ridiculous complaints, though, and all because of the fact. I mean, it's kind of like this Mel Tucker story where, the woman said that he was, pleasuring himself while he was on the phone, the coach of Michigan State. Now, I guess, close to being fired. He's been suspended. It doesn't look good for him. And it's not a particularly, flattering thing. But you're saying to yourself, why didn't
Hang
she hang up the phone? And, all right, whatever the reason was, but it's the same thing like these people that are just absolutely, I mean, aghast at how bad like a certain restaurant was. Just don't go back there.
Don't go back.
There's 8 million others. Yeah. I mean, I guess you want to forewarn some people or everybody shares an opinion. Like, I don't know what to make it as Gallagher's place.
People
From Let's
feel
Eat
the
Self-Harder.
need.
Do you?
to-
I mean, would you
Well,
be?
I do based on my personal
Yeah,
experience.
you didn't have
There's
a good time there. Yeah.
There's other steakhouses around that I think again, but it's new and it's not even fair for me to give a kind of a public critique
Because you weren't in charge of the situation. You relented to Dickstein, which
but
you often deem a mistake.
the bottom line was it was still in its first month, and I like to give a place 2 months to work out all the kinks. And but I also remembered why Gallagher's when I lived in New York. I never went to Gallagher's. I went to the Palm or the Palm 2 or Sparks or Peter Luger's or Wolfgang's or some of the other places I liked better. And there are other places now I like better here. Hey, it's time to talk about Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market because it is a Delaware Chicken and Seafood Thursday here on the Lunchbox, and we're going to be there next Thursday celebrating Oktoberfest. And that means lots of good grilled sausages with all kinds of good accoutrements that our man Gene is going to be cooking up for us.
This guy's great, man. He treats us like champs. I love that.
It's
guy.
great, and I love going in there because whether it is things like sausages, or you could go look and they have this specialty meats, exotic meat freezer where you do things. You don't see yak, but you see things like elk and bison and all kinds of things that you might not find in your ordinary supermarket or market. And of course, then you find all the great favorites like lobster and Key West pink shrimp and the crabs, steamed blue crabs, Then you have some of the fish from local waters like grouper and snapper. It's just a place for everything: chicken parts, steaks, pork chops, whatever you need, they have, including things for the upcoming Jewish holidays. That's going to be starting on Friday night. They'll have chopped liver. You can special order some fish, gefilte fish, if you need that. Delaware Chicken Farm is at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. It's right across from the classic Seminole Casino, and it's open 7 days a week. DelawareChicken.com is the website to go to for all the latest weekly specials, daily offerings. Owner Doug Crowder, they've been there since the early 60s. They take great care of people. Again, value and service. That's the Delaware way. Go in there and tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, the Save Mayo campaign will continue here on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox in a moment.
Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. A place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at One Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine. With a huge menu with something for everyone: seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, daily specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day. Open 7 days until late. Parking available on site. Happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at arubabeachcafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. It's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices, served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox, wrapping up another edition. A couple of notes, sponsor notes. I just heard from Beth Gilbert today. She's still talking to me even after I criticized her key lime pie. But her mom is doing well on the rebound.
Oh, great!
And don't know if she'll be able to make it back when we're going to be in there doing our show monthly visit September 28th. So that's 2 weeks from today. But Lenore is doing much better, and we're happy to hear that. And we wish the Gilbert family and everybody in our audience who's going to be celebrating tomorrow night a Lashana Tova, happy, healthy Jewish New Year and Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays. And then tonight, of course, it's Thursday night football, and that's a great time to go into shenanigans. Our friend Pat Utter, he'll have all the TVs tuned to the Thursday night game, except maybe if Sarni goes in there, maybe we'll have a women's volleyball match on there. Maybe a couple of Marlins.
Sarni back to writing columns again. Did you see that?
I did not. Where?
Okay, he's. I would have to grab my phone. I don't remember the exact location, but
okay, not
put up a couple of columns already. No, some site that is very popular. So
okay.
The Maven or something like that. Something along those lines.
And I didn't ask you, what do you make of the Marlins and their playoff chances now?
They're still fighting. A nice game last night. I mean, they were on the ropes the entire time. This Braxton Garrett, nice breaking ball, left-hander, and he's been hanging in there. They're strapped because they've had to use up their pitching staff so much, and then Sandy Alcantara was injured, and they lost one of their big bats with Soler. So they're fighting, though. I mean,
they're scrapping.
Going out on their sword, as they say.
If the trend holds of, South Florida's miracle year, they'll squeak into the wild card. They'll win the wild card game and go to playoffs, and then just win it all and go to the World Series.
Well, they've never lost. Well, I guess they did lose as a wild card when they were involved in a COVID season.
COVID season, yeah, that's it. But
the other two times they made the playoffs, they won the World Series.
And there's a Canes game tonight, Blanche says?
Canes, Bethune-Cookman, a big one. This is going to be the real litmus test for Mario Cristobal and his staff to see if they can pull it. I think the game is such an absurd mismatch on paper that there's not even a line established for this game.
Okay.
And there's a line on everything. There's a line on what your cholesterol level will be tomorrow, and yet they haven't put up a number on this Canes Bethune-Cookman game.
I think the line
I'm assuming they will be 3-0 after tonight.
I think the line is what my good cholesterol, which is the higher the number, the better. My good cholesterol is like only 40, so that might be what the line on the Canes game is. So
you'll see Joe Zagacki flying out of the Hard Rock Stadium roof if they are even challenged by.
Don't say Joe Zagacki and flying. That's never a good combination.
Oh yeah. That was an unfortunate thing. Hurricane Andrew.
That was good that he did a mitzvah, and it was great that he survived. That's a long time, but for a long time, people in this market who remember that. Anyway, we didn't really get around, but anyway, thumbs up. Lunchbox approved meal last night at that miso Japanese tapas. It's trendy new place that the chef Tuan Lam, really talented, kind of combination of good high-end sushi with these kind of trendy small plates and good stuff. My daughter took her there for the first time. She also gave it the big thumbs up. And he gave me one little appetizer, beautiful crispy rice with little chopped up premium tuna bits from tuna cheek and tuna collar from the neck. And he minced that up in a little bit of a nice sauce and put that on a crispy rice cake. But we paid for everything else. We had a great meal. And I do give it a big thumbs up there. It's going to be a really trendy place come season. It's in that, what's it called? The Flagler Village area.
It's a little hard to find.
And he's doing a collaboration dinner with our friend Reno Cerbone at Heritage next month. It's sold out in 12 minutes. It's going to be a fun night, too. So Tuan Lam, he helped start the whole Fat Boy sushi chain.
Oh, nice.
And then he basically parted ways with them, but he's a very talented chef. All right, that's going to do it for today, Defo. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to sitting down with Joey
Kornblit. That's going to be great.
Tony and Jeffy and Mikey. And my brother chimes in that, this opening day at, I guess they're calling it Belmont at Big A.
Belmont and Aqueduct, yeah.
I'm just calling it Aqueduct because basically Belmont is done for 2 years for renovations. But my brother tells me Hunch play in the 6th race at Big A or Belmont at Aqueduct. Number 2, Micalicious. So like me. Delicious, and I'm Mike.
As evidenced by your dream, yes.
I might have to empty the whole remaining check that I got from the insurance company on number 2.
I would unload it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. All right, that's going to do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow at Gulfstream. Defo, thanks so much. It's Mike Mayo signing off saying, remember to enjoy every salad.